Hello, good evening, everyone. It's me again, Chetwayo aboard here for another segment of Health Talks. Yes, so we are back again. All right, so the whole purpose, of course, is to be edified, to try to understand human health a little bit better and change from the norms of our regular scheduled lives, which is full of sickness, apparently. All right, so we want to get out of that and through knowledge, information, learn about the human body and the truth about the human body and how we supposed to be treating it in order to be healthy individuals. All right. So last week was basically our introductory episode, and this week we are going to continue on where we ended off, which was on the topic of veganism, because that was a question that was asked last week. So I would share my thoughts on it, and then I would share some actual factual information or evidence on the matter, right? And you all would be able to decide for yourself because, again, I would be sharing the information. What you do with it, that's up to you. If you decide that you want to be like many of the other people that have chosen me to or entrusted me with their health and their nutrition and their diet, you can do so by sending me a message on WhatsApp and we can organize to do a consultation. And when I would spend about an hour with you explaining certain things about the human body and diet that would help you to make better decisions in your life with regards to your nutrition. All right. And of course, by extension, exercise as well. All right. So, veganism, it's something that, that's trending these days. And what it shows me is that us humans, we really don't have a clue about our digestive system because we kind of blindly follow certain things, and many of us believe that humans can eat whatever we feel to eat. Our nutrition, we don't really see how large of a role it plays with regards to our health. And that there is problematic. But the issue is most people don't know how problematic it actually is. We are not designed to eat everything. In fact, I don't think there's a creature in existence that is designed to eat everything. Even a cow don't eat all types of plants, right? So just from looking at that alone, animals still have a specific type of food that they adhere to because their system is biologically designed to get its nutrients from certain types of food. So when we think, we as humans, we could eat anything, we are already stepping with the wrong foot. All right. We're already making a huge error. And that huge error has been showing up and showing up greatly over the years. All right. So many people have been pushing and going along that vegan lines, but we need to be able to look at the other information around it. We don't look at how we live. We don't look at if sickness is increasing or decreasing. More and more people are going plant-based today, yet when it comes to health, we are declining at a rapid, or I would even go as far as to say at an assisted rate, right? So we are declining at an assisted rate, and that's because we are eating the wrong food for our species. So I see Adrian said, I am not designed to be a vegan. In fact, no human is designed to be a vegan, not a single one. All right, and that's something that we need to understand. Let me just show you something. So I'll share my screen with you, and um, you would get to see something a little interesting, something a little interesting. Let me just get the approval here to share the screen so that I can show you all what I want you all to see, right, with regards to diet and nutrition, right? So let me pull this up here and then share it with you all. Look at this article. All right, so look at this article that's going to appear here. Hope you all are seeing. Vegan diets tied to higher bone fracture risk. This is from WebMD. So this is not a fly-by-night site that just popped up the other day. This is from WebMD, credible, or what people would class as a credible source of information. So let's go through it a little bit, right? Monday, November 23rd, 2020, Health Day News. And it says, true on this, vegans face a 43% higher risk for bone fractures than meat eaters, a large British study warns. The rise in risk was not confined to vegans who eat no meat, fish, dairy, or eggs. The researchers also identified a notably higher risk for hip fractures among those who eat fish but no meat, pescatarians, and among vegetarians who swear off both meat and fish but do consume dairy and or eggs. The findings follow several decades spent tracking diet and fracture risk among roughly 55,000 Britons. All had enrolled in the EPIC Oxford study between 1993 and 2001. EPIC, or European Prospective Investigation into Cancer Nutrition, is one of the world's largest cohort studies. This year, people would read something like this and still revert back to their old manner of thinking. Because we have to understand something. Let me stop sharing the screen for a second. You have to understand something with the human brain. The human brain hates to be wrong. The human brain hates to be wrong. So it always likes to be right. But hating to be wrong does not mean you aren't wrong. You can be very wrong and hate it too, right? It doesn't make you right. So the human being brain hates to be wrong, and sometimes this can result in cognitive dissonance, which is where, you know, information has been shown that is contrary to a belief that you hold on to. But because you have hold on to that belief so long, and you know that the information that has been shown is factual, you just ignore everything. You ignore the new information that you come across, you ignore everything because it is too much to grasp. It's just too much to grasp. So, or it's too much changes to be made in one's life. So better just ignore the whole thing and just pretend I never hear, I haven't heard anything, right? Something we don't know is that as human beings, we are not biologically designed for the consumption of plant-based food. That's sounding strange, eh? Because telling you, you have to eat herbs. Just think about this before going into any science and whatnot to show that or to prove that. Think about this. What do you have to convince a child to eat? You have to convince a child to eat meat, or you have to convince a child to eat vegetables. Just think on that for a little second. I have never seen them made a cartoon on for kids to eat meat, to encourage kids to eat meat. I have seen them made cartoons to encourage kids to eat spinach. And there's a reason why, because children would not naturally gravitate to eat grass, because we are not biologically designed to consume it. Our digestive system is only has a 1% difference between that of uh, felines, right? Many people don't know that 1% difference, just a 1% difference. So these things are news for a lot of people. So we are not biologically designed to get the majority of our nutrition or nutrients from plants. We have been apex predators for a very, very long time. In fact, all of our history, we have been apex predators. But here it is, we are today being told that we are to consume plants, right? And that's very interesting. That's very, very interesting. And the more we continue to push that, is the sicker we would get, right? Is the sicker we would get. I want to, well, if I could pull up that YouTube video. So I want to pull up a YouTube video to show you all. And hopefully it would wake people up a little bit, but I don't know if you all might get the audio, right? But I would try to share. I would see if I could share the video with you all, so you all could see uh, what really happens when people are on a vegan diet and what happens over a prolonged period of time. Because many of us, when people that now go on a vegan diet, would talk about the benefits, the little benefits of that diet, but it is short term. And when we cut out certain foods, the body would naturally start to heal itself. But remember, we are not putting in stuff of substance. And because of that, because plants are made up of, at least 30% of it is made up of cellulose, which is indigestible for humans. We cannot digest it. And that's where it have most of the nutrients in plants. We don't have the digestive system to break down cellulose. So I'm going to share with you a little video here, and just take it in a little bit. Take it in a little bit, and it's going to be quite interesting. It's going to be quite interesting. All right, so here's the video here. Let me just open it up a bit. So you would be seeing people here who are vegans. This person is 27 years old, and they show the year in 2019 and how they're looking in 2022. Right. Here's another guy in 2016, and this is him in 2021. It would be interesting if you all could have, heard what some of them were saying. Right, this, you seeing how small his arms are. That, and oh yes, yes, your teeth start to decay as well. Something I would explain as we go along more episodes and we look at it. Conditions that they're suffering from is sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is when the body is in a state of muscle wastage. All right, and that is not something that you can fix with medication. It is simply the lack of consuming enough meat, right? So that's sarcopenia. That, as you see in it, face. Now, something with sarcopenia, which is what I will get into afterwards. I'll explain a little more with sarcopenia and probably share some diagrams. Wow, these are scary stuff. Scary, scary stuff. The effect. Look at this child. Hmm. So it's tough to watch, seeing how people deteriorate. There was even a clip with a guy that was a bodybuilder before, and then he went on the vegan diet and he turned to a fat guy. Right. Let me speed it up a little bit. So there is no way possible being this skinny and malnourished is healthy. But this is what would happen if you go on a vegan diet, especially a raw food vegan diet, for a prolonged period of time, right? We are not designed. All right, so I think I would pause it here. I would pause it here, stop sharing the screen and come back to you guys. The damage that one does. I remember some years ago, I was looking at a documentary. So I'll just give you some information from that documentary. And they decided to put humans, to experiment, to feed humans a diet, right? To feed humans a diet, just plant-based, and try to get, and from just chewing, not juicing, anything like that, just from plants alone. And within 2 hours, everybody in the experiment was tired of chewing, and they barely scratch the surface of the calories that they need for the day, right? And this is why you have animals like bisons and stuff that would be all those grazing animals. They eat and chew all day. A gorilla's stomach is as large as it is because it need to get in a large volume of plant-based food in order for, and then it takes a long time for the body to break it down and process it. Now they just have a single stomach like humans, but they have an enlarged intestines called a cecum in the intestine is extremely large, right, to facilitate the fermentation of the plant-based foods. Our cecum is very small, so we don't have the ability to break down plant-based foods like a gorilla. All right, so we are not biologically designed for getting the majority of our nutrients from plant-based foods, right? Uh, but like I said, the experiment, they all quit after 2 hours because it was too much chewing. It was just too much chewing and they barely scratched the surface, right? So somebody is asking a question. What about those who get sick when they eat meat? Good question. So, and I like and I encourage questions a lot because it also reminds me of stuff, right? And then I could bring more content. So feel free to ask your questions in the comment section. All right. So why do people get sick when they eat meat? And this is something people don't know. When you are on a diet that has a lot of plant-based foods in it, plant comes in with a lot of copper. All right. Copper and zinc usually regulates each other. But if you remove meat from your diet and you're consuming more plant-based foods, or even if you have a little bit of meat and a lot of plant-based foods in your diet, the copper level increases and you suffer from copper toxicity. The thing is, meat has a high amount of zinc, but that was consumed in a very small amount or no meat for quite a while for many cases for vegans and so forth. So when they consume the meat, the zinc and the copper are going to start to battle it off. And that gives you the upset feeling because the zinc is trying to get the copper levels back down into a safer level. And that is what gives people the upset feeling. So it's not that meat is causing them to feel sick, it is the excess amount of copper that they have in their system from the overconsumption of plant-based foods. So that is what causes people to get sick when they eat red meat, right? But as you mentioned with the red meat, I would share another article with you all on red meat. And this, I think, might be surprising for many people because a lot of people don't know about this. All right. So let me share this article with you all and tell me what you think. So look at it here. Meat eating extends human life expectancy, according to research. Right. Research conducted in Australia has found that meat eating extends the life expectancy of humans across the world. Researchers at the University of Adelaide say that humans have evolved and thrived because of our significant consumption of meat. One of the authors of the study, biomedicine researcher Dr. Wingpeng Yu, said you wanted to look more closely at research. We wanted to look more closely at research that has thrown a negative spotlight on meat consumption in the human diet. Looking only at correlations of meat consumption with people's health or life expectancy within a particular group and slash or a particular region or country can lead to complex and misleading conclusions. Dr. Yu said that the team analyzed the correlations between meat eating and life expectancy, as well as child mortality at global and regional levels, and making our conclusions more representative of the general health effects of meat eating. The study was published in the International Journal of General Medicine yesterday, which was Tuesday, February 22nd. It examines the overall health effects of total meat consumption in over 170 countries. The researchers say that the consumption of energy from carbohydrate crops does not lead to greater life expectancy, and that total meat consumption correlates to greater life expectancy, independent of the competing effects of total caloric intake, economic affluence, urban advantages, and obesity. While detrimental effects of meat consumption on human health have been found in some studies in the past, the methods and findings in these studies are controversial and circumstantial, Dr. Yu argued. The senior author of the study, University of Adelaide, Emeritus Professor, a very weird name there, Henberg, said humans have adapted to meat eating over the course of their evolution. Meat of small and large animals provided optimal nutrition to our ancestors who developed genetic, physiological, and morphological adaptation to eat meat products, and we have inherited those adaptations, Professor Henneberg noted. The researchers highlighted that studies on the benefits of vegetarian and vegan diets do not necessarily contradict the benefits of meat consumption. Studies looking into the diets of wealthy, high educated communities are looking at people who have the purchasing power and the knowledge to select plant-based diets that access the full nutrients normally contained in meat. Essentially, they have replaced meat with all the same nutrition meat provides. One of the studies co-authors, Dr. Arthur Sanitosis, commented that the findings are in line with other studies that show cereal-based foods have lower nutritional value than meat. While this is no surprise to many of us, it still needs to be pointed out. It highlights that meat has its own components contributing to our overall health beyond just the number of calories consumed, and that without meat in our diets, we may not thrive. Dr. Sanchez added. Very interesting, huh? Very, very interesting. Very interesting. So these are things that many people aren't aware of. And some may never come across the information because they just simply don't want to come across the information because it could change up uh, how they think. It could change their whole lifestyle, right? And as much as we say the only thing constant in life is change, many people fight very hard against that change, right? So meat is a part of us as much as oxygen is a part of us. We need oxygen in order to survive. We also need meat. As they mentioned, people with the wealth, they are able to buy supplements, and it's very, very tasking. If you see how one has to eat on a vegan diet just to maintain a resemblance of proper health, it is extremely tasking and extremely expensive, right? You have to be looking at every single thing. So that there, sorry, is a bit of a nuisance. I mean, I have tried it in the past. Sorry about that. I've tried it in the past. And I'm someone, I listen to my body. I'm quite familiar with, or quite in tune with my body, with my health. And I could tell you that a vegan diet, it does not work. It is too much pressure and strain on the body. I said, me read a comment there by Adrian. As much as I have been benefiting from a meat diet since last October, the evolution concept in this article is pure nonsense. Otherwise, I agree with the research on benefits of a meat-based diet. Well, I differ with the whole evolution stuff. I really find that is a little more expansive, um, because even with bacteria and stuff, we see evolution taking place among microorganisms and stuff like that. We even see bits of evolution taking place in humanity today with regards to how we adapt to the environment. I mean, we have different ethnic groups, but how did those ethnic groups come about? So it's an interesting thing. Yeah. So when it comes to the diet, we need to understand that meat is an important factor with regards to our health. All right. And we cannot truly be healthy without it. My diet has absolutely no plant based food in it. And I am one of the healthiest person that I know. All right. So I always say when it comes to doctors, if they do decide they want to challenge me, I tell them, well, I hope you're healthier than me. Right. So if I could find a medical professional that's healthier than me and that's willing to debate with me and bring their information, that would be greatly appreciated. But here it is, I am here and I have reversed illnesses in people that the medical world has class as irreversible, right, and incurable. But yet, these conditions I have reversed within very short spaces of time, right? And it's no miracle or anything like that. It is simply most of the diseases, according to is Misty Clinic in Australia, right? 94% of diseases is from nutritional deficiencies. In fact, if you do the research on vitamins, you would see that for something to be classed as a vitamin, one of the criteria would be that a lack of it, a deficiency of it, causes disease, right? So when we are thinking diseases is a random something, most diseases most, like I said, 94% of them are due to nutritional deficiencies. Nutritional deficiencies, all right? And many people are nutritionally deficient because we have spent so much time focusing on consuming foods that our biology isn't designed to utilize. All right. We spend a lot of time doing that. All right. So understand there's a comment there. Yeah. No, good, good. Right. So here this comment from YouTube. All right. So someone on YouTube said they had to start back eating meat because their iron dropped too low. And that's true. That's true. A lot of people I know of who went on a plant-based diet, they end up suffering from anemia, right? Because the iron dropped too low. Because meat is also an excellent source of iron. Right now, they would tell you could get in iron from plants. But we need to understand that phytonutrients, and many of the phytonutrients, are not structured molecularly in a manner in which the human body can utilize it. Right? So take, for instance, vitamin B12. Vitamin B12, you can't get from plants. That mean that there are plants with most plants don't have B12, but there are some seaweeds with it, but the form in which the B12 is in, the human body cannot extract it, right? But vitamin B12 is essential for life. If humans can't, if plants don't have it, and the plants that do have it, human digestive system cannot utilize it. How is it that we can say that we are supposed to live and survive off of plants? It does not make any logical sense, right? It does not make sense. We need B12, but plants don't have it. And the plants that do have it, it's in a form that humans can't utilize. But yet we are saying that we are basically herbivores and we need to be more vegan. And the excuse for veganism, we always try to tell people, oh, it saves the environment, it protects the environment, right? When you stop eating meat. And I believe last week I showed with the vegetables with oil crops how much land space it utilizes, right? So these are things when you look at, you would realize that oh, meat is not the problem. You talk about methane, but the vast majority of methane, they don't know where it comes from, right? And one scientist, one researcher discovered that over 40 million tons of methane in the atmosphere, they, they were unaccounted for. They did not know where the methane was coming from, right? And plenty of people want to turn and blame cattle and say it's cattle passing gas. But when they actually did check, because they say methane causing climate change, right? That's another crazy topic. But when they did check, they realized rainforests, the trees in rainforests, naturally release a lot of methane into the atmosphere. It had nothing to do with animal life, nothing. So the same forest that is uh, converting the carbon dioxide back into oxygen is also releasing methane, right? So it kind of put a little block when it comes to them saying that, climate change, methane is causing climate change. But look, nature is releasing a lot of methane, right? So that whole climate change argument, when you actually look at it, is flawed. In fact, meat consumption, red meat consumption has dropped over the years since the 1960s to now. It has dropped by 30 to 40%. But guess what else has dropped? Male fertility, testosterone levels in men as we cut out red meat, specifically from the diet. Testosterone levels in men has dropped 30 to 40%. as well. Now, is that a coincidence? Hmm. I tend not to believe in coincidences, right? So, how come the figures are so almost exact? 30 to 40% drop in red meat consumption and 30 to 40% drop in male testosterone levels. That I find to be quite interesting. So I see a correlation there. It may not be causation, it could be, but there's definitely a correlation. So these are things we need to pay attention to and be mindful of. All right. And we need to, if we have learned anything over the past 2 years, we need to stop trusting the medical field. I was speaking on a topic uh, the other day on another program, and I brought up uh, a clip, well, a website showing it was showing images from back when they used to advertise cigarettes, and you would be amazed. You would really and truly be amazed as to what cigarette ads used to be. They were marketing cigarettes for two children. Well, for anyone, they just said it wasn't recommended for children under the age of 6 years, right? Cigarettes wasn't recommended for children under the age of 6 years, but they said cigarettes was good for people that are asthmatic and have this disorder and that disorder. That is how cigarettes were marketed. Over 20,679 doctors recommend using Lucky's cigarettes and whatnot. This was how it was marketed, right? Medical journals were paid to publish that cigarettes are safe, right? So when I say we should not be trusting the medical world, is not because I just don't like them. They have a track history, right? They have a track history of not being reliable. They are not credible. When you go by a doctor is telling you that you need to get down your blood sugar levels because you're diabetic and you need to take this medication, and that doctor is also diabetic. We need to get out of the habit of taking medical and health advice from sick people, right? And it's as if the true meaning of science have been kicked out the window, right? When I say the true meaning of science is observation and experimentation. We have kicked out observation and experimentation, and we just go straight to whatever somebody in a white shirt, a white cloak, or somebody in authority tells us is now truth. Whether what we observe and whether the experiments we do says something different, right? So we have constantly been fooled by the medical association who just operates for profit, right? When you research and you go back and research, even with cigarette ads, those doctors were given free cigarettes in order to push it and promote it, right? There weren't enough research being done. You look at it was back in 1994, the FDA made some changes to their rules with regards to how something has to be passed as safe or not when it comes to the supplement industry, which is something we could look at as well. All right, we could look at the supplement industry and see how things work. Where the company that is producing the supplement, they have to show that it is safe. Not a government body or a private institution would have to test their product for them. No, they have to test their own product and then just tell the FDA that my product is safe. And it's passed. All right. So the supplement industry is a whole nother a whole nother con. I don't use any supplements. I don't use any drugs. There is no need to. You can get all that you need from meat, from animal-based foods. All right, you can get all that you need from there. All right. So people, we just have about 5 more minutes again before I look to wrap up. For those that are interested in doing a consultation, right, go into a little more details with a lot of the stuff that I'm speaking on tonight, and a little more details with human nutrition. All right, you can contact me, can send me a message on WhatsApp, and I would send you the information on the services that I offer. If you want to be on the benefiting end of regaining your health, taking back your health, and so forth, then I could arrange with you for consultation. It takes about an hour. It takes about an hour, yeah. Yes, I spend, sometimes it goes over because it's so interesting, right? That some people might have more questions and whatnot. So it might sometimes take an hour, sometimes an hour, 15 minutes. I try to keep it to an hour, right, for the consultations. But the information is a lot of information that I share, right, and all from credible sources. And for many people, in fact, I haven't done a single consultation, sorry, where people weren't blown away by it. Every single person was shocked, right? Every single person. I've had uh, one time where a doctor did a consultation with me, and she herself was quite shocked. Had one where a nutritionist did a consultation, and she was upset that she spent all that money going to school to study nutrition, and they just taught her wrong information, right? The human body, the human health is very simple. If we look at nature, nature always follow the path of least resistance. Nature is simple, very simple. What we do with nutrition today, with the nutritionists and the dietitians and whatnot, it is so complicated, right? Where they'll give you a diet sheet and you have to eat here at this time and that time, and you have this option, that option, and you have to learn this food good, this one not good, this. That is not how nature operates, right? That is not how nature operates. Nature is very, very simple. It goes straight to the point, all right? It follows the path of least resistance, right? Many people would look at me and see my physique and think I'm killing it in the gym, and I'll always mention this. I haven't lifted weights since 2015, right? I do not exercise more than half an hour a week. Not saying that people shouldn't exercise more, right? But I'm saying my physique is due to my diet, right? You look at animals in the animal kingdom, they don't exercise, they don't have a gym time. They live. They live, right? And if we were living how we supposed to live, just just existing, being apex predators, would be our exercise, because our lifestyle would be very active, would be very, very active. All right. And we would be in the physique that we need to be, because we would have been eating what we were biologically designed to consume. All right. So, having said that, I would like to wrap up, and I guess you could tune in from next week. Hopefully, we had a little mishap earlier, technical difficulties and whatnot. So that's responsible for the later start. All right. So hopefully next week we should be on from around 8:30 p.m. And let's tune in and be edified. Let's learn a little bit more about our health. because at the end of the day, your health is your wealth, and there is no wealth without health. Right? So have a good night to you all and keep it safe. Take care.